So for this video on the gods and goddesses of Mesopotamia, we're going to talk about Nergal. So Nergal is an interesting guy. So let me pull over to my notes and we'll just start chatting about it. All right. So Nergal in the Simon Necronomicon is associated with Mars, and in the Babylonian cosmological system, he's also associated with Mars, which is where one goes to the other. So his consorts in various tales include Las, Mami, Ninshubur, and Ereshkigal. A little phlegm this morning. So he had called places in Kutha, Dealbot, Isin, Lagash, Larsa, Nippur, Ur, and Uruk. Nergal is symbolized by the lion and also associated with the bull. In Sumer, Nergal was associated with certain phases of the sun, mainly like the hottest part of the summer during the summer. Why? Because that's when war happens. Nobody fights during the winter because there's not like there's no supplies really. So he's the patron deity of the city of Kutha. He's the god of war and pestilence. He's given the underworld by Enlil and Ninlil, according to one of the tales that's written about him. He's seen as a god of pestilence, war and death, and those who died in war. He commands other lower spirits to spread disease at his will. And Nergal is at the head of the pantheon of deities of the underworld. So, he's the boss down there. So in terms of Nergal and Ereshkigal, because I know that I talked about Ereshkigal in another video, but so this will just be Nergal's side of it, I guess you could say. In the myth, Nergal travels to the underworld with 14 demons, leaving 2 at each gate to guard his way out. And Ereshkigal's already saying, "Cool, when he gets here, I'm gonna kill him," right? So he sheds all of his armor and stuff, just like Ishtar does in her descent. That's the covenant, that's the tradition. And when he gets down there, she tries to corner him, but of course he ends up winning, and he's got an axe, and before he chops her head off, she's like, "Hey, if you don't kill me, I'll marry you." Right? A lot of the ways that gods and goddesses get together is either by coercion, tricking, or threat. Thank God we don't do that today, right? So he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that," right? He's like, "Yeah, I'll do that, but I gotta leave every 6 months because that's when during the warmer months that's when war happens, so I gotta be there. Is that cool?" And she's like, "Yeah, that'll work." Which is kind of interesting because even with the tale of Dumuzi and Geshti Nana, when they switch places every 6 months to explain like vegetation, and then like vegetation during the warmer months, and then when all the vegetation dies during the colder months, to explain the seasons. And then Nergal does the same thing. And I am so sick of these phone calls this morning. Hold up. So it's just kind of interesting that there's always some seasonal component with anything that has to do with the underworld. Let us continue if I can get back to my notes here. So, yep. So in demonology, which has a Christian leaning to it, Nergal is identified as a demon, and he's seen as the boss of Hell's secret police, I guess you could say. Let's see, keep going. He's also called Era or Ira, and we'll keep going. So in one myth, Nergal actually goes to Babylon, which of course is the city of Marduk, and he's like, his idea is he wants to lay waste to it, probably because he wants to humiliate Marduk, or he just loves death, destruction, and all that. And but Marduk is there, and of course Marduk is way more powerful than he is, so he's able to trick him to leave the city, and then he sacks it. He destroys it. It was probably a way of explaining one of the times when Babylon was attacked, and it's a way of kind of blaming it on Nergal as to why it was successful, because when you're supposed to have the biggest, baddest god around, of course your city's not going to get sacked, so somebody must have tricked him. Something must have happened, right? a lot of these spiritual beliefs in terms of gods and goddesses, of course, are used to explain things such as why tragedies happen, why death happens in Nergal's case, why war happens in Nergal's case, and why certain cities get sacked, or why the seasons happen, or why the stars move, or what happens with the moon, with eclipses and all that. It's all explained by the movement of deities because back then they didn't have any explanation for it. It's all allegorical, basically. So, tales of Nergal's ability to kill human beings and his taking the blame made human suffering understandable, basically giving a reason why suffering happens, kind of like a scapegoat. So, Nergal swept through your town and, some people got sick. That's just kind of what happened, and you can blame him. Although he wasn't necessarily seen as all bad, because he was also invoked and prayed to in order to gain protection, because it's like the enemy of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. If I befriend Nergal and he likes me, he's not gonna want to kill me, so he might want to kill somebody else, because they see him as a wrathful figure in a way, because he represents destruction. And as long as Nergal gets to do what he wants, which is destroy stuff, it's like pointing him in the right direction. Hey, don't touch me. Go take care of those guys over there. You can lay waste and pestilence and all that stuff to those guys over there. But if I give you some offerings, leave me alone, please. That kind of stuff. So, let's see. Nergal is also associated with the right hand of the priest, according to one source that I got some information from, and to the Hittites, which is of course another a different group of people. He's known as Aplu, which is the god of plague. One other thing that you may find interesting if you do your research is in the Simon Necronomicon, when you invoke the fire god Gibil, he's also known as the warrior Ira, which IRRA, which is one of the names of Nergal. So it's almost as if these different gods and goddesses they kind of borrow different aspects from each other at certain points, and that's mainly because as the cultures and different groups of people that lived in Mesopotamia either like interacted with other groups that believed in different gods and things, they would adopt different attributes from one god to the other through their sharing of information and the transformation of belief. So in a way, you are kind of invoking an aspect of the fire god when you invoke Nergal, and vice versa. Another tale of Nergal is when his son actually made him an axe, which was made of tin. The interesting thing is the handle was made from an arganum tree, and it says the wood, which is superior even to the alal stone, and its stone part is of antasura, a stone which has no equal, and if Nergal lost it or broke it, his son would just replace it for him. So he did have what seems to be a very kind of sacred weapon, a special weapon, which you do find with different gods and goddesses, with having special items that nobody else had. In one of the writings about him, he is also called the Lord who imposes silence, and that's kind of interesting to me because silence can be equated with death, because there's no more breathing, there's no more movement, there's no more action, and also there's no more talking coming from that person. So when it's that silence of death, like when you walk through a graveyard and it's just quiet. So that is a bit of information on Nergal, and you guys can check out any of my other videos in this Gods and Goddesses of Mesopotamia playlist. You can check out any of my other stuff and find my social media links and whatnot at the end of this video. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know any other videos or videos specifically on deities or any other subject in regards to magic and the Necronomicon and such that you want me to make. Good hunting. Thanks for watching my video. So if you want to check out my playlists, I have, among others, the Simon Necronomicon, the Tree of Life, General Magic, Tulpamancy, a playlist on my books, the elements, stones, the theories that govern magic, and the Gods and Goddesses of Mesopotamia. If you want to check out my books on Amazon, I have Creating Consciousness, Magical Mechanics, Magical Theater, Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Mastery, which is a combination masterwork of magical theater and magical mechanics, and The Guide to the Spheres and Beyond. You can also find me on Facebook at Magickology YT. You can email me at priestofthenecro@gmail.com, and you can even check out my Instagram, which is Magickology. And good hunting.